Now, the only complaints you might get are some noises you can hear in this machine, crackling noises when the water's running. It sounds like it's kettling, and it's not kettling. And what we found causes that. If you have city water, this machine can handle 150 psi. It can handle that. Okay, it's rated for 150. But if you have, let's say you have a PRV valve in the basement of that person's house, and they have 70 psi coming in through the PRV valve. If you have a machine, a customer calls you up and says it's crackling, go to the house, put a pressure gauge on the drain inside the machine, and turn the water on through the drain. If you have 70 psi, go turn on a bathroom fixture. If it drops to 20, you've got a bad PRV valve. And what happens is when it drops to 20 psi, it slows the flow of water down going into the machine. Well, it's still calling for high fire, so that burner is 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, heats that stainless steel, and the water, cold water hits it, makes a crackling noise. It's not kettling, it's not boiling the water, but it sounds like it's kettling the water. Those are really the only noise issues we've seen in this machine, other than a mixing valve. And we'll talk more about mixing valve here in a little bit. You can get some mixing valve noises too, but other than that, we haven't had any issues with that. Okay, power. We have a cord, 3-prong outlet, plugs into an outlet. Pretty simple. Make sure you never cut the cord off. Okay, we're UL listed to have the cord at the end. If you cut the end of the cord off there, you've now voided the warranty of the machine because you changed UL listing in the machine. So it has to go to an outlet. Okay, polarity sensitive. Excuse me, anything with PID technology, which this has, PID technology simply means spark ignition and flame rectification. If you have that, you are polarity sensitive in an outlet. If you reverse the hot and neutral, you'll have problems. That'll save you a lot of headaches right there. That little plug-in part. You plug into the outlet, it shows you the hot neutral is right. Happens a lot in guys, homeowners that do their own work. They go buy all their fixtures from Home Depot, all their outlets. Well, the ones in Home Depot are cheap. They're cheap because they don't put a brass screw and a silver screw. So you don't know which one's hot and neutral unless you look at the side of it. So guys can mix them up. If they mix them up, you'll have reverse polarity. The machine will run, but it'll give you nuisance lockout codes. Anything with spark ignition and flame rectification, reverse the polarity in it, and you'll have nuisance lockouts. If you have any machine giving you flame failures, consistent basis, you know, no rhyme or reason, but off and on, check the polarity to that machine. Make sure it hasn't been reversed. Even ones that are hardwired. I found ones that are hardwired that were done wrong, where the guy had a little junction box in the ceiling. Let's say a lot of guys use a Firematics. I don't know if you guys have to use Firematics in the state of Michigan or not. In Vermont, every boiler has to have a Firematic over it, which is basically a thing that'll melt if heat goes above it. So there's a fire, it melts it, and cuts the power off to the machine so the burner goes out. So everything has to have a Firematic. Well, if you have power to that Firematic, and a lot of guys will reverse the polarity up in that box and run it down the machine and get flame failures. Okay, so understand that part would be okay. You got to have a good ground. Without ground, you can't rectify flame. We get a lot of phone calls during power outages because homeowners wheel their generators out of their garage. They grab an old extension cord that they cut the ground off of so it'll fit all their outlets in the house. They plug in the internal and it won't stay running. They want to know why. Because you have no ground. Without ground, you cannot rectify flame. Okay? Keep that number right there in mind, 108 volts. If the power in the house drops below 108 volts, this machine will give you a flame failure because it can't transform less than 108 volts to the 16,000 volts we need. Now, you might not think that's going to happen in houses, and you'd be terribly wrong. Okay? The last company I worked for, we had so many problems with power in New England. The last company I worked for spent about $1,500 on what they call an Eagle tester. It's a recording device for power. You plug one little block into the outlet, you plug the machine into that, it'll record every 30 seconds for up to a month of what you have for power coming through that house. And you'd be shocked what we used to find. You pull that machine out, hook it to your computer, it gives you a 3-channel chart. Hot, neutral, and ground. You look at the hot side, you'd have 120, 80, 60, 100, 20, 40, 20, 80. People are wondering why they're losing computers and microwaves and appliances because they're getting brownouts. They don't have enough power to sustain all that. And it had nothing to do with the electrician who hooked up the house. He had his 200 amp service in there and all that was fine. It was, ever been in a construction site, working in somebody's home they're building, and the guy carpenter runs a chop saw and all the lights go dim? That's a problem. Lights shouldn't go dim, there's not much draw on a chop saw. Okay? So those things can make a difference with these machines. I had one house that I went to that we put the testing device on it, and it was all over the place, and for 2 hours it was perfect. Then went back all over the place. We lost their power. The standby generator kicked on by itself. And the power was perfect for those 2 hours. Then went back to the grid and it was up and down. Guys will build developments and put 10 houses in it, put a transformer on the pole. Next summer they put 10 more on, don't change the transformer. So that transformer could take care of 10 houses, can't take care of 20. Yeah, Bill?
Yeah, at the Coast Guard station, we lost 2 control boards. They'd put a Cummins generator in and never put a master switch on the electrical, so when the power came back, it would turn the generator off. Yeah, $30 surge protector helped them a lot in the future.
Yeah.
So.
And surge protectors are fine. You want to put a surge protector on this? Use a single point surge protector. Don't ever use a computer power strip on these machines. They don't like it. Anything with PID technology, heating equipment doesn't like strips. I don't know why, but I've had many customers call me with EO2s. I found they have a power strip. They take it off the power strip. No more EO2s. Okay, so stay away from power strips. Surge protections are fine. We do put 2 fuses in the board. We have a 3 amp glass fuse in the hot and the neutral, so you have surge protection there. I've seen it go past those fuses, but it has to take something major to happen. A lightning strike close to the house, a power line take out, a tree take out your power line right there at the house, creates such a surge that it goes by the fuses, takes out the board, the fan, the gas valve, everything. Okay, so it can't protect all that, but the fuses do a pretty good job. Yes?
Are there spare fuses with the board?
There are not, but they're just regular 3 amp glass fuses, the older automotive type, which are also getting harder to find now than the new ones. Only place I can find them now on a full-time basis is Radio Shack. Even some auto parts stores don't have the glass ones anymore.
You know, Lockdemar puts a few spares in the bag with their.
Do they?
with the board.
I guess they're much better than us.
Sure, it'd be nice thing to
You can see that we don't use much for power. The 195 on full fire is 91 watts. A Takeo 007 pump uses 95 watts of power. So it kind of gives you an idea of our power drops from the machine. It doesn't take a lot of power to run it. So it's energy efficient across the whole board, not just the gas, but the power consumption too. All right?